question.
It depends on what you use. If you use calcium carbonate, it might actually reduce the ocean acidification. But yes, there absolutely could be unintended consequences, including changing weather patterns. And that's where governance becomes really, really tricky. Because, who's going to do it? Who's going to control it? What happens to other countries? Does it mess up weather patterns? There's a lot of thorny questions surrounding this issue.
Yeah, and the Pinatubo example in the past, it lowered tropospheric temperatures globally on average, but it did cause slightly warmer northern hemispheric winter. So there are pros and cons to trying to apply this real world science to a future intentional reduction of solar radiation. But there is another idea they're going to pursue, and it's based on the real world science of ocean shipping tracks. So what happens is these ocean going vessels emit particles that are very, very small, these aerosols, and then those little aerosols are nuclei for water vapor to condense and make basically a long, narrow cloud along the ship's track. So the idea is, knowing that the physics about how this happens in the real world, what if we were to inject in the lower atmosphere over the oceans those small aerosols to increase the cloud cover intentionally to lessen the amount of solar radiation being absorbed in the ocean.
Yeah, and these clouds are actually brighter. You can actually, just looking at this, you can see that these are very bright clouds. They have a very high reflectivity. And so if you could do this on a massive scale, maybe you reflect from the oceans, which would matter less, because one thing that we're concerned about in terms of shading the earth essentially is what would happen to, for example, crop growth. Well, they're not growing any crops over the ocean, so you wouldn't have to worry about it in this case.
You just reflect more into space.
I worry if they then ultimately create rain, which may add to sea level rise. Anyway, so many questions, folks. Vote on our Twitter poll and send your comments.